Let's get right into it. Number 5. Microwave mistake. Picture this. It's 1945. A grown scientist is standing near a weird metal box that shoots invisible waves. Suddenly, the chocolate bar in his pocket melts. Not because he's nervous, not because he ran a marathon, but because science just cooked it. That scientist was Percy Spencer, working with radar equipment at Raytheon. He wasn't trying to revolutionize dinner. He was trying to build better radar, but instead of asking, "Why did this melt?" and moving on with his day, he basically said, "What if we cook things with this?" Which sounds like the kind of idea you'd get at 3 a.m. while staring at leftovers. And yet, that stupid curiosity created the microwave oven. The first version was 6 feet tall and weighed more than your refrigerator. It looked less like a kitchen appliance and more like something you'd use to contact aliens. But it worked. Here's the weird psychology part. Innovation often happens when the brain refuses to ignore anomalies. Most of us experience tiny glitches every day. Weird coincidences, small errors, strange outcomes. And our brain just shrugs and moves on. Spencer's brain did not shrug. It poked the glitch with a stick. Humans are wired to notice patterns, but only a few people are wired to chase them when they don't make sense. That's the difference between, "Oops, my chocolate melted," and, "Oops, I just changed how civilization reheats pizza." Today you press a button for 90 seconds and complain that your food is unevenly heated. Meanwhile, the entire invention exists because someone basically said, "Huh, that's weird." So yes, modern convenience was born from a man accidentally microwaving his own snack. Your leftovers owe their existence to melted chocolate. Number 4. Moldy bread miracle. Imagine leaving food out so long it grows its own ecosystem. Not, "Oops, I forgot mold." I'm talking full-on science experiment. The kind that makes you question your life choices. In 1928, Alexander Fleming went on vacation. When he came back to his lab at St. Mary's Hospital, he found something most people would immediately throw away. A petri dish contaminated with mold. Normal reaction? Disgust. Scientific reaction? Mild annoyance. Fleming's reaction? Wait, why are the bacteria dying around it? Instead of cleaning his desk like a responsible adult, he stared at the mistake. The mold was producing something that killed bacteria. That something became penicillin, the first true antibiotic. A medicine that has saved hundreds of millions of lives. Wars, infections, minor cuts that used to be death sentences. And here's the psychology twist. Our brains hate disorder. We crave neatness, closure, finished tasks. That's why you feel weird leaving tabs open on your laptop. Fleming ignored that urge. He didn't fix the mess, he investigated it. Most breakthroughs don't happen because someone is perfect. They happen because someone is curious enough to examine their own screw-up. Before antibiotics, people could survive battlefield injuries and then die from a simple infection. After penicillin, humanity basically unlocked a cheat code against bacteria. All because a scientist didn't tidy up. So the next time you feel guilty about being messy, just remember, one forgotten petri dish rewrote medical history. Your laziness might not save humanity, but statistically speaking, it has a better chance than you think. Number 3. The wrong glue. Some inventions start with a grand vision, others start with, "Well, this is useless." In 1968, a scientist named Spencer Silver was trying to invent a super strong adhesive at 3M. The goal? Something powerful, industrial, intense, the kind of glue that could survive the apocalypse. Instead, he accidentally created the opposite. His adhesive was weak, embarrassingly weak. It stuck lightly but peeled off easily. It didn't bond permanently. It didn't hold heavy objects. It was the participation trophy of adhesives. In a company obsessed with strong bonding, he basically invented commitment issues. For years, no one knew what to do with it. Imagine pitching that in a meeting. "Good news, I've developed glue that doesn't really glue." Silence. Concern. Maybe a polite nod. But here's where human psychology gets interesting. Our brains are trained to evaluate things based on the original goal. If you fail the goal, your brain labels it as mistake and moves on. That's called functional fixedness, when you can't see beyond the intended purpose. Silver didn't toss it out, and neither did another 3M scientist, Arthur Fry, who later had a completely random problem. His church bookmarks kept falling out of his hymnal. He needed something that stuck, but not permanently. Suddenly, the useless glue became genius. That's how Post-it notes were born. Those tiny yellow squares that hold grocery lists, passive-aggressive office reminders, and 80% of your productivity together. The brilliance wasn't in inventing something perfect, it was in reframing something imperfect. Most of your bad ideas aren't actually bad, they're just misfiled. Basically, humanity improved organization because someone failed at making better glue. Failure didn't just stick around, it literally became sticky. Number 2. The exploding sweetener. Let's say you're in a lab in 1879. You've been handling chemicals all day. Your hands are probably covered in substances that would make modern safety inspectors faint. Now imagine going home and licking your fingers. That's not a smart scientist move, that's a main character in a cautionary tale move. But that's exactly what Konstantin Fahlberg did while working at Johns Hopkins University. He was experimenting with coal tar derivatives, not exactly snack material, when he noticed something strange at dinner. His bread tasted sweet. Instead of panicking, calling a doctor, or questioning his life choices, he traced the sweetness back to the chemical residue on his hands. That chemical became saccharin, the first artificial sweetener. And here's where the accidental genius kicks in. At the time, sugar was expensive and not always accessible. Later, during sugar shortages and wars, saccharin became wildly valuable. Eventually, it opened the floodgates to the entire artificial sweetener industry. All because someone skipped hand washing. That pattern shows up constantly in accidental breakthroughs. The brain detects something off. Most people retreat, a few steps closer. Now, I am absolutely not recommending you taste random chemicals. Please don't. Your body is not a laboratory. But it's wild to think that diet soda, sugar-free gum, and half the zero-calorie aisle exist because one chemist decided his fingers looked like a reasonable appetizer. Human progress sometimes tastes suspicious at first. And occasionally, it's literally explosive. Number 1. The burn that changed everything. Deep breath. It's 1943. A chemist is working with super volatile compounds that could absolutely ruin his week. Suddenly something explodes. His lab goes boom. He gets injured. Most people would retire immediately and open a bakery. But Roy Plunkett wasn't just any chemist. He was working for DuPont, trying to develop a new refrigerant gas. Instead, he stumbled into something weird. A gas cylinder he was using seemed empty. No gas came out. Useless. Failed experiment. End of story, right? Except it wasn't empty. Inside the cylinder, the gas had reacted under pressure and formed a strange white solid coating the interior. Most people would have said, "Cool, anyway," and moved on. Plunkett cut the cylinder open. The white stuff was incredibly slippery, chemically stable, heat-resistant, non-reactive, basically the introvert of materials. Nothing sticks to it. That failed refrigerant became polytetrafluoroethylene. You know it as Teflon. Yes, non-stick pans, industrial seals, spacecraft components, medical devices, the reason your eggs slide around like they're auditioning for a cooking commercial. But here's the psychological angle. Humans hate wasted effort. When something doesn't work, your brain wants to discard it quickly. It's efficient. It protects your ego. It says, "That was a mistake, forget it." Plunkett didn't forget it. He investigated the failure itself. That's the secret thread running through all of these accidents. Curiosity overrides embarrassment. Attention overrides dismissal. Instead of asking, "Why didn't this work?" the better question becomes, "What did this actually do?" Most breakthroughs aren't lightning bolts of genius. They're someone staring at a mess and refusing to look away. So the next time something in your life doesn't work, remember, the microwave was an accident, penicillin was a mess, Post-it notes were weak, artificial sweetener was finger-licking chaos, and Teflon was a failed gas. Humanity didn't advance because we're flawless. It advanced because sometimes we're wrong in interesting ways. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.